Well, the region's economy has slowly begun to churn back to life as COVID-19 restrictions are eased. Folks are getting eager now to get out of their homes after several months of isolation. That's a good sign for businesses that depend on travelers. But will it be enough to salvage the summer? Joining us with more on this is Anna Tansky, the president of Visit Duluth, and Christy Stokes is the president of Duluth's Greater Downtown Council. Good to see you both. Thanks for both of you being on the program tonight. Pretty good topic we're going to be talking about tonight. Anna, your agency has literally been impacted by this COVID-19. You've had to furlough, about a half dozen different employees because of what is this? Why were they furloughed?
Well, we were fortunate to have a strong start to the year, and so we thought things were going to be really that we would be well positioned as we started to enter into COVID. And then the reality that we faced was very similar to those of other businesses. It was just a bit delayed.
Yeah.
And so with limited resources and the city not collecting taxes at
less
the
tax
level,
dollars coming in,
correct,
which supports your agency.
That is how we are funded, are through lodging tax and food and beverage tax.
Mm-hmm.
So with those numbers, of course, dramatically on the decline, we had to face the reality that every other business has really encountered.
Anna, we're already getting close now to the end of June. I'm wondering, are we going to be able to salvage the month of June or salvage the tourist season because of what we have seen over the last 30 days?
You know, there are signs of hope, and we monitor it very closely. Each week we receive a report showing us what the hotel occupancy levels are. And gratefully, we're seeing about a 10% increase week over week. Of course, at the low levels that we were at in the 20% range, now we saw 70% on the Saturday of what would have been Grandma's Marathon.
Really?
So we see signs that our industry is emerging, and as more and more of what makes up our industry continues to reopen, we do anticipate that we will see a recovery.
And I want to come back and visit that in just a few minutes. Christy, with this unexpected pandemic that has hit not only the Northland, but certainly the world, this unexpected pandemic has certainly caused problems up and down Superior Street. What are you seeing? Are you seeing any return to any semblance of normalcy at all in Duluth?
You know, it's interesting. I talked to a retailer today who said this week she was really starting to see more people actually walking in the store now. Before it was some orders or some pickups that people were wanting to see. So now you're seeing a little bit more of that consumer confidence. You mentioned Superior Street. You know, we have Superior Street reconstruction going on right now, and that's almost taken a back seat because so many people are so worried and so concerned about trying to deal with the pandemic and everything else that's going on. So we haven't had to do as much about the construction as we have in the past. And the construction is going great. It's going well for us. But it hasn't been as much of an impact on the businesses as it has been in the past. So
have downtown businesses been doing some repeat, or are you finding that there has been very few people walking into their doors?
Oh, I think we're seeing a lot coming back now, especially when we're seeing the restaurants. I was in Canal Park today, and there was a lot of activity. That's a good measuring tool, isn't it, the restaurants? Yes, and seeing people eating out on the decks. You know, we have beautiful weather this week, so that's been a real boost for us as well. But you're starting to see that. I'm not saying it's back to the levels it should be at, that's for sure, but I think, as Anna mentioned, we're seeing signs of hope.
Yeah, and Christy, the Greater Downtown Council is now running a series of television commercials touting the downtown business district. They really truly are open and eager to see customers, are they not?
They are, and they're taking all of the precautions necessary. I mean, so many of them have just poured over the guidelines and the documentation and the things that are needed to make sure people feel safe. And that's, I think, the important thing for them to also show that, so people understand when they come into their store or when they come into the restaurant or whatever business that they know what those parameters are.
You bring up a good point. How are they showing that?
A lot of them have it posted right on the front door. They'll have it on their websites, things like that, and it's just how they demonstrate it as well.
Here's a question the two of you can probably both answer. What are you seeing on the streets in terms of tourism and business activity? What are you specifically seeing?
Well, I can speak to the volume of people that have reached out and requested visitor guides. We weren't sure what to expect, but with people spending a lot more time online, we saw tremendous website activity because all of our information, of course, is available electronically. However, the good old-fashioned printed visitor guide is in high demand, and we've had to pause that now with our furloughs. We anticipate resuming that as soon as we have the resources to do so, but every indication is that there is strong interest, and really, we hope increased interest, because people will stay closer to home, and we want to now have Minnesotans come to Duluth and visit. Of course, that's always been a core part of our visitorship, but we are seeing people still coming from far and wide. Just today, I saw license plates from Missouri and from Kansas. So we know people are traveling, at least within the Midwest.
You mentioned that you're looking at license plates, and I guess a lot of people who are in business do that. Are we finding that people are maybe taking driving vacations this year? They're not flying off to see Aunt Matilda, who lives 4,000 miles away, but instead they're staying closer to home. Are both of you seeing that?
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
And research is showing that as well. The consumer index that is being tracked and monitored on consumer behavior and activity really is indicating that within about a 650 to 700 mile radius is the expected travel window for visitors.
And I think what we're seeing too is we are seeing those locals that are saying it's important for me now to help boost our local economy. It's important for me to support our local businesses. When you talk about the downtown workforce, though, I would say that's coming back slowly. We still have quite a few businesses that are working remotely, so we're not seeing that critical mass of employees in the downtown on a daily basis right now, and I think that will be taking us into August or September before we start to see those numbers going back up.
Anna, you mentioned hotels. That's a pretty good measuring stick, isn't it?
It is, because it's a really real hard data for us. You know, it's not anecdotal, and so we rely heavily on that to show us visitorship. But you know, when, to Christy's point, we do see tremendous support from our local residents when it comes to restaurants, when it comes to retail, when it comes to visiting attractions they maybe haven't been out and experienced here in our own backyard. So we're really working together, our organizations, to encourage everyone to get out and experience our city, maybe in a way that they haven't recently.
And Anna brings up a good point of working together. So we did team up along with the Duluth Area Chamber of Commerce and the Hermantown Area Chamber of Commerce with the Strong Northland campaign. And so that was specifically aimed at restaurants where people can purchase vouchers that can be good at. It's now 44 restaurants in the Duluth Hermantown area.
You told me before you went on the air that you again just recently cut another commercial for the Greater Downtown Council. You're really promoting downtown. Get out and enjoy the downtown.
We are. We're a destination, and we want to make sure that people know that the businesses are open. They're working to make sure that it's safe, and we just want people to know that we miss them and we can't wait to see them.
Yeah. And Anna, Explore Minnesota, which is really the state tourism bureau, has just released a new advertising campaign now. Tell us a little bit about what the state does to help bring tourists to the Duluth area, for example.
Well, they've really shifted their focus now within the drive markets as well, based on all of the research and indicators. So for us, that helps tremendously, because the markets that Explore Minnesota is going into, Visit Duluth, then can piggyback with our own message. So as people are learning about Minnesota, we then can say, and here's Duluth, Minnesota. And we really shifted our messaging away from some of what we had planned to do originally and created a new message focused on be here. And Lake Superior, it's big enough for everyone. And it has many levels of meaning now more than ever, and we really think it's going to resonate with visitors to come and explore a community that has Mother Nature's way of social distancing.
So what kind of advertising does the city of Duluth do outside of our market area?
We are really focused primarily in the markets that you would probably expect
Twin
around
Cities?
our region. Twin Cities, number one. But we're into Rochester, Minnesota. We're into Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and Fargo, North Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and we would love to get back into Thunder Bay and Winnipeg when the borders reopen.
Christy, has there been an uptick in not only the restaurant business, but in other businesses as well? Retail trade, for example?
I'd say it's been slow to get back on track for retail trade. I know some that do online have continued to keep their online going, but it hasn't been real sensational. But I think now, as you're starting to see more visitors coming, they're hungry for that. They're hungry to get back into a store and to be able to make an economic impact.
Maybe again you can both address this one. Duluth has been hoping to make this city a bit of a movie capital. We've been trying to attract movies being made here in the city of Duluth, if not on the big screen, at least on the small screen. Are we seeing any success with this, or has the pandemic slowed things down?
Well, actually, in speaking with some officials just yesterday, it's picking up tremendously and gaining momentum. And it's been decades of a lot of hard work by some key individuals that have really put Minnesota on the map. But our area in particular is being seen now as not only a fairly safe and healthy destination, but working toward incentives financially that will basically be sort of that final piece to really encourage that. And we anticipate some pretty significant announcements if all of these pieces come together. So I would say stay tuned on that, Denny. Because
what is it so attractive here?
I would say it literally is the fact that our region has been fairly COVID-free, and they can resume their productions that have been halted in other parts of the country.
Anna Tansky, Christy Stokes, thank you both so very much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.